Welcome to Brand Builders TV. Deep dive topics, tools and resources brought to you by global thought leaders from within the Brand Builders Club. This show gives you access to the strategies that you can use to move forward with ease and flow in every area of your life and business. On today's show, Sammy is going to take you through part 2 of this 4-part series on how to build your brand without burning out. In session 1, Sammy guided you through a visualization meditation to get you focused on your dream 10 out of 10 life and business. In part 2, Sammy's going to take you back through to that scene before she takes you into another activity that will look into who and what is supporting you to achieve it, or not. Only once you're super clear about what you want can you let go to be able to grow. So find a quiet space and join in with this next guided activity. Learn it, model it, and get shit done. Let's go. Welcome to part 2 of this 4-part series where I'm bringing you guided visualizations and meditations to take you to the place where you've got it all, where everything is abundant. You've got the life that you want, you've got the love that you want, and you've got the business that you want. Because ultimately, the business is there to give you all of that. It's not there to keep you so busy that you don't have time to enjoy any of that stuff. And I'm really talking from experience, because when I built the business that I sold back in 2013, good morning, Fiona, I built that company and I had everything that money could buy, but I had the one thing that money couldn't buy, which was my happiness and a husband, a family, all the things that I wanted. I'd been married before, but I knew that being part of a solid unit, I believe in marriage and I wanted to get married again. So for me, that business was taking me further away from those things. So yesterday in part 1, we got really focused on, and intentional and creational in what your 10 out of 10 life and business would look like. Today, we're going to go to the next part of this activity, which is letting go so that you're able to grow. I'm sure that you have been through situations in the past where you've tried to go into doing new things and you tried to make things work and you've given it 100%, probably more. You've given it everything you've got, and yet it still wasn't working. It still wasn't in flow. Has that happened to you before? If you could just let me know in the comments so that I know you're with me. Well, I know that's definitely happened for me. And the biggest time, the most memorable time that happened for me was when I was coming to the end of selling that particular business, which is a brand and marketing and design agency. And Fiona, tell me about it, really having to let go. Yeah, absolutely. Well, when I had this biggest challenge that I've ever had to face, really, was when I built that business for 7 years, and I'd built 4 other companies at the same time. So I was incredibly burned out, but I didn't realize that I just kept taking more things on. They say ask a busy person if you want something done, and that was certainly true of me. And I just kept loading things on, but I didn't realize the stress and the pressure that was putting on my body, and how, because I was so caught up in the day-to-day getting shit done, I forgot about what was important. I lost total sight of what my purpose was. So I kept working harder and harder to try and achieve what I wanted to achieve. And I wasn't getting anywhere. Like, the business was growing, we were making more money, but I didn't feel happier. And I thought that more money would make me happier. I thought my dream home would make me happier. I thought buying my dream car would make me happier. And we visualized some of those things yesterday. But ultimately, none of it did make me happy. What made me happy was being in complete flow. And what happened was, over the process of 2 years, once my business partner and I had made the decision to sell the business, we really went through quite a traumatic process for nearly 2 years, where our accountant was introducing us to people who wanted to acquire the company, people that wanted to come and buy the business. But I didn't like any of them. They didn't share the same values as me, and I'm very much somebody who breaks the rules where it comes to friendships in business. I don't know if you're like that. Are you like that as well? Because I just can't, I just feel like my business is a massive part of my life. And I won't do business. I've got a critical rule. I will not do business with somebody who I wouldn't invite to my boat for a coffee or for dinner or to go for a sunset cruise or something, right? I want to be spending my time with people that I really enjoy being with. And if that's true for you as well, give me a thumbs up or give me a yes, yes, yes in the comments. Because that was the thing that was most important to me. And I didn't like any of these people that were trying to buy the business. And after 2 years of just going through that trauma, my business partner's body caved in and my body caved in. And here's how I felt. And I was talking actually at my exercise class this morning. I was talking to one of the other ladies about this because she said she felt really torn between where she was but where she wanted to be. And I said, I know exactly that feeling because that's how I felt. We were going, it was like I had one foot in one life, trying to keep that going, trying to make money for today, trying to keep everything going, pay the bills, sort the team out, grow the business. So I had one foot in this camp, but my other foot was in the future and it was wanting to move forward and I wanted to move forward. I wanted to follow that foot, but I realized I still had responsibilities here. And ultimately, I was part of a mastermind at that point. And I'm always part of a mastermind. I believe it's incredibly important to be part of a mastermind that's supporting you to grow. That's what our incubators do. And so I'm always part of one as well. Hi, Sally. So I'm sat in this mastermind and I'm surrounded by all these amazing other business owners who are also turning over millions of pounds because we were all at the same level and supporting each other to go to that next level. And I remember sitting there and every single person around the table, they brought the same problem as they'd been bringing for the last 6 months. It was like they kept coming to the mastermind, but they weren't doing anything about it. They were just saying the same things each time and they weren't actually growing. And every time it came to me, I was growing. And so every time I spoke, they were all like, oh, here we go again. And they were getting fed up with me growing and I was getting fed up with them not inspiring me because they weren't growing. And I realized that I had to let go of that. And I had a very strong visual. When I did my visualization, the visualization that I took you through yesterday, that's one that I made myself, but I took myself through a different meditation, which I'm going to take you through in a moment, which enabled me to really see what was holding me back. And more importantly, who was holding me back. And this meditation happened, I went to, it was a networking event actually, and I used to be part of, I don't know if you've heard of BNI. Have you heard of BNI before? Business Network International. I used to be an assistant director for BNI at the same time as growing my design agency. So I was growing chapters and communities up in the north of England. And we had training every month and they took us into this meditation like we did yesterday, but then they did this next part of the activity, which is why I want to do this with you today, because it was this part that really helped me to see the woods for the trees, and through the trees it just helped me to get really focused on what I needed to let go of. And actually with me having one foot in the life that I've got and one foot in the life that I wanted to have, I was just constantly stretched. It was like doing the splits for nearly 2 years. And the splits is not the easiest thing to do anyway, if you're not used to doing them. But if you do it for 2 years, it's almost like, you know, holding this bottle of water. Doesn't feel like much now. But if you hold that for 2 years and you can't put it down, it's an incredible weight, isn't it? So just let me know in the comments. Are you feeling that pull? Are you where you are now, but you're feeling the pull to go in a different direction? Are you feeling the pull that maybe things aren't as in flow for you as you want them to be? Because it might be that the people that you have around you aren't the kind of people that need to be helping you to drive forward, or it might be your clients. It could be whoever you've got around you, the people you're in contact with the most. Maybe they're not supporting you in the way that you need them to support you. And if they're not, let's evaluate why not. Maybe you haven't communicated with them that that's the direction you want to go. You just let's get a bit clearer on that today. So I want you to close your eyes again and go back into that space that we were in yesterday and really just step back in. I'm not going to take you under today. We're just going to just remind yourself, just see it, hear it, feel it, experience it, that amazing energy that you created in yesterday's day one of this 4-part series. So we went into your dream 10 out of 10 life. Really imagine where you are, who you're with, and see the environment around you. Feel the warmth or the cold on your face. Imagine the weather outside. Just picture yourself in your perfect scene. And remember, you've got your perfect business now. Everything is in flow. You've got all the money that you want. You've got the security and the certainty. Money's coming in every month. You don't have to worry about anything. You're living your 10 out of 10 life, and you've got your 10 out of 10 business. And that business is supporting you to have even more of the life that you want, to be able to spend your time doing the things you love with the people you love whenever you want to do them. And you never have to save up again to do any of those things that you want to do. The money is there and you're ready to just go to that next level. You've been working your entire life for this moment. You feel so proud. Every cell in your body feels like it's just full of vitality, full of energy, because everything is in flow. Everything is going well. Really feel into where you are, what you're doing, who you're with, and what you can see around you. Remember this perfect day. Everything is abundant. Absolutely everything is going well. You've got the perfect power team around you. You're surrounded by the most incredible people who love you, who champion you, who want you to do well. And you are the same with them. You're part of a global family supporting you to go to the places that you want to go, to the level you want to go in your business. You're working with customers who love what you're doing. They can't get enough of you. It's almost like they're throwing their money at you, trying to get you to do something else for them, because everything you've done so far is so effective. You're really in that flow, really in that space. I want you to hold that vision in your mind's eye. Really capture it. And on the count of 3, I want you to open your eyes. And we'll go into the next step of this visualization today. 1, 2, 3. Okay, open your eyes. Fantastic, right? So how does it feel being in that energy? Just give me a little description of what you saw, what you felt, what you heard. Because this is just the first part. Just reminding ourselves of what we saw in part 1 that I delivered for you yesterday. Here's the next step. Okay, I'm just going to give you another 30 seconds to just brain dump. You can always come back to this at any time. Oh, Fiona, I can feel that. I'm living in that for you. Sunshine and happiness and ease. I love that. That's my life, definitely. Sunshine and happiness and ease. I think you should make that a mantra, put it on your screensaver. Sally, feeling very comfortable. Brilliant, right? So you're now in that energy. So here's the next step. The next step is for you to get a piece of paper, or use the notes on your phone, or you can go through this process later if you want to, but I'm going to talk you through it now. So you get a sheet of paper and just from top to bottom, write the numbers 1 to 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down the page. Most people would go left to right, so write them down the left-hand side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You could even put them in here if you want to. So just imagine that you're, in fact, it would be better if you do that, because then I can work with you on it. So I want you to think about the 5 people or groups, communities, customers. Who are the 5 people, groups or customers who you spend most of your time with? So if you think about the last 7 days, where have you spent most of your time? Who are the people that you've spoken to the most? So what you can do, if you want to play here with me, you can type 1 and then the person, and then 2 and then the person, 3 and then the person or the community. Now this could be, some people type their children, right? It could be your children, it could be your parents, it could be customers, it could be a group, it could be a forum or a community. I want you to list 5. And when you've listed those 5, can you give me a yes in the comments so that I know you're ready? Okay. Brilliant, Sally. Thank you for putting it in here. Fiona, if you can put it in here as well, that would be awesome. And for those of you that are catching up on the replay later on, please do write it in the comments as well, because I'm still hanging out after the show. So 1 to 5, you need to have all 5 written down. Yay, I made it to your list. Awesome, Sally. Okay, perfect, Fiona. Awesome, so you're done. So here's the next step. I want you to get back into that energy of the visualization, your perfect dream, 10 out of 10 life and business. And one by one, I want you to measure. And again, you can do this confidentially. You don't have to do this publicly, like Fiona's doing it privately at home. So do it whatever way works best for you. And I want you to, this can be hard, it can be challenging, but I want you to be really brutally honest. And next to each of those numbers, write a score of 1 to 10. 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest. So I want you to score out of 10 each of those people, communities, family, husband, wife, daughter, son, mum, dad. Really be totally honest, because that's the only way this is going to work. So you can either put them in the comments here if you want to, or you can do it completely privately. But when you've done that, if you could just put in the comments how you feel about looking at those numbers. Yeah, Fiona, spot on. This is a great assessment tool. It totally is. I actually do this at least every 6 months to reevaluate. Am I still where I need to be? See, Tracy, I don't know if you're watching this live now, but certainly I'm sure you'll watch the replay. Yesterday, when you said you're feeling overwhelmed and this is perfect timing for you to go through an activity like this. And then you came to the Thinkubator last night, and that was your challenge, was the overwhelm side of things. And what can happen is we can become overwhelmed because of some of the people that we're doing a lot of things for, and it can be very one way. And actually, when you think about your life and your dream, you're so busy helping them to achieve their dream that your dream gets forgotten along the way, and it's not reciprocal. And we can get to a point where we're completely saturated and we're trying to balance so many things. And for you, Tracy, you're balancing so many different things and trying to please everybody and trying to run your business. It's just an and we keep loading it on. But it can really hold us back, and it can keep us in that split position. You know, you've got one foot here, which is your loyalty and all your values towards the people around you. And then you've got this foot here that says, do you know what? I'm still loyal. I'm still that person. But actually something's got to give. And if I'm going to achieve this and be the best example for my customers of what this great life looks like, or a great business, or a great team, great health, great wealth, whatever it is that you do, if you're going to be the very best example of that, then you are going to have to let go of some of the things that are holding you back. And some of those things might be people that are holding you back. Sally, some folks I could spend less time with. Awesome exercise, Sammy. Yeah. Here's what I found when I went through this process, and it was a painful process, and I'll tell you why in a moment. And you don't have to be as extreme as the things that happened with me. There's something about me that once I've made a decision, it can take me ages to make a decision, but once I've made the decision, bam, it is done. So it is. I don't know how you are. Are you the same? Does that happen with you? Because it can take me forever to really come to that point of done. But when I've made that decision, that's it. And it's non-negotiable. I can't go back on it at that point then. So once I make my decision to do something, I'm totally committed to it. Either way. And when I looked at my list, the first person on my list was, actually it was my customer. It was my very first customer. My very first ever customer in my very first ever business in 2002. And so I had him there, and he was a 10. He was phoning me every day. Sammy, how you doing? What's happening? Anything I can help with? Right, I'm going to go and see these customers today. I'm going to talk to them about you. And of course, because he was like that with me, he was front of mind for me. So he was totally renting a space in my head. So all of the day I was thinking about him and who could I introduce him to. So we were just a referral machine for each other. We were just absolutely on fire. And then number 2 was my mum. And my mum was a 2 out of 10. She was a 2 out of 10. And I looked at that number and burst into tears because I so wanted my mum to be a 10 out of 10. I really wanted her to be a 10 out of 10. And when I looked at that number, I thought, do you know what, Sam? You've not been fair, because you've given her a 2 out of 10. But how could she possibly help you to achieve this vision? Well, you've never bloody told her what it is, because I didn't know. So how could I have communicated that to her? So I committed to myself to go out to France, because I was living in the UK at the time and my parents live in France. So I committed to go out to France, take my mum out to dinner, and just let her know what my dreams were and this vision that I'd seen and what I actually wanted. And she became 100 out of 10. She makes the one drop. She's part of the business. She's my greatest ambassador, one of my bestest friends on the planet. And so she went from a 2 to a 10 just by me being clear about what I wanted, so I could let her know what I wanted. Number 3 on my list was my ex-husband. Emphasis on the ex. What I hadn't really taken into consideration was that actually he was a narcissist, and I didn't know what one of those was. All I knew was that I'd become a very different person to the one that I was when I'd first got with him 10 years previously. So it was absolutely, I mean, you say heartbreaking here, and it was heartbreaking for me to look at that number and he was a 1 out of 10. I wasn't happy in the relationship. My needs weren't being met. I didn't feel fulfilled. I just wasn't happy, and it was leaking into everything else. Me not being happy was just making everything else unhappy. If you found that, like I always find that, when you go to a business coach to sort the business out, and all they really do is sort you out, and then you sort the business out. And that's totally what was happening. And so I'd already started to make that decision about, well, I'd gone through the whole guilt and the shame of failing, like this is a marriage. This is supposed to be something that's easy. How is it that I failed at this? And I went through all these emotions, and actually that was about 2 years as well. I seem to have this 2-year thing. Like I say, it takes me a long time to make a decision. Once I've made it, I've made it. And I knew that he wasn't helping me to have the life or the business that I wanted, because he was trying to pull me out of the business constantly, always letting me down, very vicious and vindictive, very aggressive, and it just didn't help, and it was leaking into my business. And so I was throwing myself into the business to avoid the marriage. So my business was growing, but the marriage was just getting worse. And actually he did me a favor, because he gave me an ultimatum about a week after I'd made this decision, and I didn't know how I was going to do it. And he gave me an ultimatum that it was him or the business, and I chose the business. He still regrets that to this day. But you don't have to go to the extremes that I did, but I was in a deeply traumatic place where I had a foot in each life, and it was too painful, and I just couldn't manage it anymore. So for me, that was something that had to go, and it went. And the other final 2 people on my list were 2 friends who, when I really thought about it, these 2 friends who were also very low numbers. I was surrounded by low numbers. It was shocking and traumatic, and eye-opening. And it was a horrible thing to go through back then. But my life is, you see my life now, amazing husband that I wouldn't have if I'd have held on so tight for fear of failing in that relationship. But now I've got the most amazing husband. Like my life is 100 out of 10. But because I had to let go of all of that stuff. And those 2 friends, I realised actually they were so self-absorbed, and I was constantly helping them, that actually they weren't for me. So I had to get really clear about who were going to be my 10 out of 10. How would they show up? Who would they be? What kind of values would they have? How would they show up for me? And how would I then be able to show up for them and other people? Because my love tank was full. So there's a book that you might want to read if you haven't read it before. How many of you have read The 5 Love Languages? I think it's Gary Chapman is the guy who wrote it. And that got me really super clear, actually, about my love language and the love languages of others. It helped me enormously in business as well, to understand how other people need me to show up for them. And I thought, if I'm going to have the perfect people show up for me, then I've got to be the best demonstration of who that is. So it was really about me getting clear about who I needed to be, so that more of that would show up. So what does a 1 drop really stand for? And it was about that time that I started, because the 1 drop that came into existence for me back in 2002. And what I realised was I was looking externally constantly for the 1 drop. I was looking constantly for role models and people that would inspire me. But I couldn't find it outside. What I realised was that for me to get 10 out of 10s across the board, I needed to get really clear about me. Who am I as the 1 drop? Who do I want to be? Like, what would a great role model look like? And how would that role model show up? How would they be around other people? How often would they show up? If they were a real 1 drop, how often would they show up? And what would they show up doing? And who would they be if they were in their best energy and in their best intention 100% of the time? And I got focused on what that looked like, and then I set out to be that person, because I knew that it wasn't out there. If I can be the one drop and the best demonstration of what that looks like, I'm going to attract one drops everywhere, because my reticular activator, beep, 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 is going to be looking for more one drops just like that. And when I started to be the one drop, I started to attract the one drop. And I attracted the most amazing mentors, the most amazing friends. I couldn't even list my 5 now, because there's too many. Each and every one of you on here right now, you're being the one drop for me. You're being the one drop for yourself. And more importantly, you're being the one drop for each other. I'm sending some one drops out today, actually. If you haven't got your one drop yet to be part of this one drop movement, to be a one droppreneur, you can go to onedropmovement.com. Fiona, actually, could you type that in for me, please? Because you've got your one drop. In fact, you've had several one drops. You bought one for you, one for your daughter, and you buy them for your clients as well. When you give them their certificate, you give them a one drop as well. I just love that you're supporting one drop, and we support charities and pay it forward through the sales of the one drop. So I'm sending, I think I've got one to send out to Texas today, and another one's going to Wales in England. So they go out all over the world. But just really get into your one drop energy. Look at that list and see, are there people on that list, or are there communities, are there groups on that list that you would like to make a 10? And look at the difference between those numbers. If it's a low number, how can you make it a high number? Yeah, onedropmovement.com, all one. Thank you, Sally. So how can you make it a high number? Do you want to make it a higher number, or is there actually a part of you that realizes that it's time to bring some new energy into your life? Maybe some new role models, maybe somebody who's already in your life at the moment. Maybe there's another Brand Builders Club member who you haven't been getting to know as much yet, and they don't know about your business. So right now they could be a 0 out of 10. But what if you picked 3 Brand Builders Club members that you could be the drop for them, so that they could be the drop for you, and got really intentional to go forward? I'm just so excited for you, right? Just getting into that 10 out of 10 life and business. Now letting go so that you can grow and get to that 10 out of 10 life and business. Getting really focused. And we've got another 2 sessions yet. So my next session is on Friday at 10 a.m. So do come back 10 a.m. on Friday. We're going to do part 3. So we're keeping going with the visualizations and the meditations. And this is very experiential, getting you to get shit done. This is what this channel is all about. So I'll see you at 10 a.m. on Friday for the next session. And do remember to come back and join Fiona Dilston today at 4 p.m. And she's going to do a little exercise with you as well. So you've got a clear day today. We didn't book the whole of Wednesday up. You've got me now, and then Fiona at 4 p.m. So make sure you come back at 4. And please do share this video. Tag some people in that you think would really benefit from this activity, and help us to share the love of Brand Builders TV. Take care. Have an amazing day. Be the drop you want to see in the world. If you want your one drop, I'm going to the post office, like I say, so go to onedropmovement.com and buy your one drop so I can post it out to you. And I'll look forward to seeing you in this group, this page, or in the next meditation. So take care. I'll see you there. Bye. I hope that you've enjoyed the show today as much as we've enjoyed making it for you. If you've got anything out of this episode, please do tell someone else how they can subscribe to the Brand Builders TV channel at youtube.com/brandbuilderstv. Why not join us at our next Brand Builders Thinkubator, a global mastermind that we run every week to take away the loneliness of being in business on your own. For more information and to book your place, visit light.brandbuilders.club/Thinkubator. That's light.brandbuilders.club/Thinkubator. Until next time, be the ripple that you wish to see in the world, and we'll see you soon.